I work as a nurse. All my work friends are women. Between my girlfriend and work friends, all women, I don't think I speak to a guy more than 2 to 3 times a month, and it's usually my dad. Am I the only one who feels this way? Edit. Wow, this exploded big time, pretty surprising. I didn't expect some late-night introspective thoughts to turn out to be something so many people can relate to, and a few jerks in there too. Anyways, thanks for contributing. It's giving me lots of good advice and reading material. Story 1. Teacher who only had female friends. It took the end of my 11-year relationship to reboot my life, and I joined some coeducational leagues as a way to stay in shape. I ended up making a ton of new friends and a girlfriend. It took maybe 4 months to be accepted into their little group, and from that, I have 2 guys I see just about every week. With the COVID-19 situation, the 3 of us go fishing most Sundays. Story 2. I find it very hard to relate to and befriend guys. Most of my close friends are female, and I've not really made any male friends since year 12. Even at work and at university, I just find it really hard to form male friendships. I think it's because in school I was always the butt of all the jokes and teasing with my friend group, so I'm very standoffish with guys I meet now. It doesn't help that I don't like football, clubbing, or gaming that much. Story 3. Are you me? I am a 34-year-old male nurse. I have 2 male acquaintances I talk to. My closest friends are or were women. I think it comes down to relatability. People interact with those they relate to and share interests with. We work in a female-majority field, so our peers who can relate to us tend to be women. What are your interests and hobbies? My male acquaintances are people I met at makerspaces while doing projects. We find common ground through similar hobbies. Story 4. It's just you being a product of your environment. Statistically, the nursing profession is mainly female, which automatically puts you at a disadvantage. Nothing wrong with that, you're just going to have to work harder. Do you like football? If so, see if there are any fantasy football leagues coming up this fall that you could join. I bring that up because it's a fun activity that brings you and 9 other guys usually together and gives you something to talk about. Trash talking, discussing the games that weekend, etc., basically bonding. Story 5. My boyfriend should read this. I have to be his homeboy and girlfriend. He doesn't have any real guy friends. If we ever have a wedding, the wedding party would consist of all of my friends and family. Story 6. Men and women make friends in fundamentally different ways. The standard advice is that men make friends shoulder to shoulder, while women make friends face to face. If you haven't learned how to bond over an activity with other people, you're going to have trouble. Story 7. I am a 24-year-old male here, and I pretty much feel the same way. I have my girlfriend and a bunch of women friends, but very few genuine male relationships. I met my closest male friend in college, and we still talk often, but he lives about 8 hours away, so it's tough to meet up regularly. For me, the friendships I have with guys are ones that I've known for long enough that we can goof off and talk casually, but if things are rough at work or at home, we can talk about those things too. I think women, in general, are more open to conversations that men, in general, consider difficult, uncomfortable, or even strange. I read somewhere on Reddit a while back that guys tend to make friends with other guys who do the same things, whereas women tend to bond emotionally to make friends, and I think that's pretty accurate. So if you're looking for male friends, I guess I would try doing things you're interested in. Play video games with your microphone on or meet people interested in the games you play on Reddit. There is a dedicated forum for like every video game I've ever played. Or join a recreational league in a sport you're interested in. Most of my meaningful friendships with guys started off as just that, and they grew into other things, but with the original interests still there. Story 8. As a male in his 40s, I've always found it easier to befriend women than men. I largely attribute this to being raised by a single mom with almost no dad involvement. While I did have an extended family that also helped raise me and had some strong male influences, my grandfather is awesome. I overall spent more time with and being raised by my grandmother and aunts. Overall, I'm far more comfortable around women than men and find women a lot easier to talk with. I do have a few close male friends that I've had for a long time, including my best friend, whom I've known since I was 5, but I find it very hard to be comfortable making new male friends. I also have zero interest in the most stereotypical male activities, such as working on cars, fishing, boating, or guns, which probably doesn't help. Story 9, 18-year-old male here. My closest friends are women, and then there are my 4 childhood friends who are men. I am quite the same, to be honest. I think it comes down to our interests and hobbies. Most guys have a specific number of hobbies, which include sports, gaming, clubbing, and beer. I am not into any of these except clubbing, but I just go to the club to dance and nothing else. Let's face it, most men don't like dancing and won't even attempt it. They go there for the women. You can try to expand your hobbies where you will find more men, but don't do it just to have male friends. Do it because you are interested in it. Plus, who cares if you have more female friends? At the end of the day, they are people you care about and they care about you. That's all that matters. Story 10. It's probably because you are a nurse. It's hard to meet people outside of work in medical fields, especially if they are making you work extra shifts and your profession is female majority. It will likely take some effort to participate in activities outside of work to meet male friends, but it is doable. Story 11. Found my adult male friends through mutual hobbies. Disc golf, watching football, and drinking beer. It's not easy the older you get, but nothing is impossible. Story 12. Having friends is hard work. Everyone can be difficult and may disappoint you if you let them. Be the one to make the call, send the text, or plan the event. You can see from this discussion that everyone wants friends, they just do not know how, or are too lazy to maintain it. It can be a challenging task sometimes, but it can also be one of the most rewarding parts of your life. Just keep at it. Story 13. I'm the same, and it has always been an insecurity for me. I never feel like I fit in with other guys, and I can't relate to them. I think something that annoys other guys threatens or intimidates me for some reason. I really want a group of guy friends to hang out with, but it's just something I've never had. You're not alone. Story 14. Honestly, I am in a similar situation here. For me, I have just strayed away from friendships after marriage. Not by my choice. Most of my friendships ended because of them making poor choices. I just feel like I would end up getting betrayed again in a friendship, and being alone hurts less. Story 15. Men generally form friendships over common interests, whereas women bond over shared vulnerability. I find it easier to make and sometimes enjoy female friends more than male friends. Reflecting on this, I started to realize I likely make female friends because I like asking about people's lives, conversations that may not feel overly personal but are ones I wouldn't necessarily have with male friends. On the other hand, with guys, if there's little in common, the conversation can become stale quickly. To answer your question, perhaps it's because you can't find guys with whom you share interests. You should consider trying to join or get involved in hobbies where you can regularly interact socially with the same group of people. While there's more to it than just common interests, they are an important determinant of whether a friendship will work out or not. Story 16. It just means you are not a typical guy. You might gravitate towards women more because you relate to them easier. There is nothing wrong with that. The people who are right for you will be in your life naturally. You do not want to force relationships. You can try putting yourself out there more. You may have had bad experiences with males when you were a child that made you more guarded around males as an adult. Maybe it would help to pinpoint those areas where you feel most vulnerable and start addressing them to confront your innermost fears. Story 17. Some men work entirely around other men, don't have a girlfriend, and the only woman they talk to is their mom. It is hard to make friends as an adult because you are wiser as an adult, see through people's nonsense better, and know better about what you want in a friend, and most people won't meet that standard. Story 18. Sort of similar, I'm 17, and I'd say I do have an easier time getting close with women. But at the same time, not so much anymore. My closest friends are a mix. My absolute best friend is a guy, and the others are girls. I found that I get to know guys through going to parties and such, but I've never been into any sports. I play video games maybe twice a week and only recently picked up weightlifting. I don't think it's anything to be worried about. People are people at the end of the day, and if you're happy with how it is, then I would say you're fine. Story 19, probably going to get lost, but you have to purposely try to make friends with guys in your situation. Yes, you probably get along better with women, but having friendships with men is important. I'm the same way. I'd even go as far as saying I just plain don't like men, based on some bad experiences. But what I did was join some clubs that I knew would probably have more guys and purposely try to be friendly. Story 20. It's the same with me. I want to attribute it to my childhood. My guy friends just decided one day not to talk to me. It happened 3 times over 8 years. I guess I subconsciously stopped looking for guy friends because of it, but I guess it's more complicated than that. Story 21. I am 26 and have always felt far more comfortable around women. I was raised by women only for a good portion of my life and have always felt more comfortable expressing myself to women. The men that were in my life were not the most approachable, and I have continued to feel that way throughout my life. Although I do have some guy friends that I do connect with, it is mostly women. Story 22. Watch the movie I Love You, Man. It's excellent and might give you some tips. But mainly, put yourself out there a bit, and if you meet a cool person that you'd like to hang out with, see if they want to grab a beer or whatever sometime, a light mandate. Story 23. I have mostly female friends. I am a very expressive guy who likes fashion and fabulousness. I don't relate to the average man because they are so unexpressive. Most of my guy friends also happen to be gay. Luckily, a lot of women like expressive men, so I have an edge there. Story 24. I am the same way. I have found some guy friends as I got older, mainly through board games. If you do not like sports and are not athletic or competitive, that alone puts you off the majority of male friendships. Story 25. I wouldn't assume this is some kind of character flaw. Our jobs have a huge influence on our peer group in friendships. All of my friends are at least 7 years older than me because I worked for 6 years right out of high school, then went back. I've stuck with those friends and made new ones through them, but most are older. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Making friends as an adult is really tough, though, especially if you're single with no kids. I find that's another peer group you're not naturally included in and can relate to. Story 26. Same, bro. I don't like sports, fishing, hunting, the norms, So that excludes about 90% of what most men talk about. I'm a hermit as it is already, so that doesn't help. But on the other side, I don't really have friends at all anymore. But the few I have are women. I think it's because women can relate to you as a person, and men tend to relate more to your hobbies and interests. I just wanted to add something funny here. I was working a few months ago, and a guy on the job site speaks up as I walk by and says, "Hey man, drink any beer this weekend?" And I just thought to myself that if that's really the only thing you could come up with to start a conversation, I don't think there's going to be much of a conversation. Story 27. My advice to any guy trying to make friends is to vastly expand your interests. If you can't care about things others like, it's hard for you to find new friends. At least in my view, it's a two-way street. Why would someone want to spend time with you if you aren't willing to try what they're doing and vice versa? So if you don't know about sports, learn about them. If you don't play them, try to. If you don't know about cars, learn about them. The best thing is that you don't need to be an expert. Just have enough of a foundation so that you can learn and they can teach you. Sometimes just asking can open a door that floods you with information, and showing you genuinely care or somewhat understand can be enough to foster a great friendship. They are being heard and listened to, and for a lot of people, they lack that. Story 28. I'm kind of the same way. My main problem is I really do not see the point of male friends. Everything I like is a solitary activity. Reading, watching movies, listening to music. I do not really know what to do with another human being. It just seems like when I get together with the friends I have, we talk about stuff. At least with female friends, I can go dancing with them or something like that. I am really envious of women because they can both be friends with someone and still be affectionate. I guess that is the type of relationship that would be ideal to me. Making friends in adulthood is not impossible. I made all of my friends in adulthood. I'm serious, I had no friends at all until I was in my mid-20s. I think the issue for most people is your definition of what a friend is. Look, you are no longer a kid or a teenager. A friend is not going to be someone you hang out with every day. You are lucky to see them once a month, if that. The hardest part with friends as an adult is that you will always be number 2 or 3. It is more akin to a good acquaintance. It is really hard because you do not have those childhood memories and a long history together. There are people in their lives who do have that. Plus, most people have significant others and children. Story 29. People are difficult, and you're more likely not to tolerate people's behavior as you get older. That's what I tell myself anyway. But it could just be that I'm the difficult person and nobody likes me. Story 30. If you want to hang out with some new friends, go out with a 5-pack hanging off your belt, one beer in hand, and hold a football in the other. This is what dressing for the part you want looks like. Story 31. I was coming to this subreddit to post this exact question. I'm about 30, and all my friends have moved away or I've broken ties with really toxic friends I had in undergrad. I have no male friends in real life right now either. I'm asexual, I hate sports, and I'm not really into video games other than maybe 1 or 2 times a week playing Animal Crossing for about half an hour before I get bored. I'm also a lifelong sober person by choice, so I abstain from all substances. Being a nearly 30-year-old guy, I find that I literally cannot relate to most guys I meet at social gatherings. I have 3 close friends I've seen in person for the last 4 years, and they're all female. I've been thinking recently about how much I miss going out with some guys and chatting about life and just existing. I think being so focused on my career in child welfare and developing professionally, I've lost so much of what made me the person I was in my early 20s. I don't have confidence in being able to relate to guys anymore. At parties where I meet some guys in my female friends' social groups, I get self-conscious and talk too much trying to look cool. I burn out and end up excusing myself to leave early. My interests are so specific nowadays. I like to do jigsaw puzzles, watch horror movies, and cook new dishes. I didn't really think about it until recently. But now watching TV and seeing the buddy groups in these shows, I realize how much I miss having that. So this really isn't a helpful post, just a commiseration and vent post. I feel the pain in my own way, and I hope you can meet some friends and get back to the life of chilling with the guys. That's such a juvenile way to explain hanging with friends, but that camaraderie in the past just always felt right. Good luck with figuring it out.